All right, guys, I'm gonna make a video that's a little bit different than what I typically do. I'm gonna make a case study of one of my clients who surpassed 100 pounds. But this particular video is not about like what we did, but how she executed what I laid out for her. So in the second half of this video, it's gonna be her first 8 weeks and what she did to lose 37 pounds in 8 weeks. Get you a pen and paper. Take some notes. You're going to be able to implement some of the things that you learned in this video immediately. That's going to lead to faster results for your progress. And that's what this one's all about, is speed to results. So if you want to be aggressive, if you're sick and tired, if you're like, oh, I hate the way that I look, this case study is going to unveil some of those secrets that I use for my students. You're going to be able to implement it immediately to your process so that you can see more rapid success. I'll see you on the other side.
From the intro. Let's go over this, how I helped a mentally defeated mom lose 37 pounds in under 8 weeks. And I gave her the hope, and she also went on to go and surpass losing 100 pounds. I've done this now of this recording 11 times with 11 different people. So this is case study AG Aubry. And she didn't have to spend countless hours away from her family doing any like juicing, cleansing, forcing herself to eat like foods that she doesn't like. So let's get into this. Here is a before and after photo. Here is the empirical evidence of her starting weight and then down to her weight when she hit the milestone. All right, guys. Hello, my name is David. If you don't know, so I'm going to go over this particular case study with Aubry. She has 3 kids. She's a realtor from Oklahoma City, and all the training that she did was at home with her own equipment. She didn't go to a commercial gym. So before I get into the details on showing you how we did this, I wanted to show you another before and after photo, like I said, of the facial, and then of her, what is that? Profile, side by side. So I wanted to show you a couple of these before and after photos with using our training system. So who this is for, this is an aggressive particular case study. If you want to finally get rid of your gut, if you want to develop long-term sustainability, if you want to keep the amazing results that you have, this is going to be something that you're going to want to pay attention to. If you're also embarrassed about you've let things get out of hand, life got away from you, and you just ended up putting yourself on the back burner, you don't like what you see in the mirror, or worse, you may be concerned that some of your loved ones are embarrassed of you, this is definitely for you too. If you're wanting to go fast, this particular case study is super, super fast. Aubry had an accelerated rate, and that's because of her level of execution. This is definitely for you, for people that want to go super, super fast, whether you have a deadline or whether you don't. But also if you're wanting to physically change your physique within anywhere from 3, 6, 12 months, you may not have as much weight as she had. That's totally fine, but we can completely transform you to where people are going to be shocked and amazed. So if that's you, stick around. You're going to love this. Let's also talk about who this video is not for. Let me save you some time if you're one of these people. If you're looking for more like a passive, slow type of approach, this one's not going to be necessarily for you per se, because this talks about how well and how awesome Aubry executed. And I like to say how aggressive she was with it. Like, she was so focused and so dialed in. She did absolutely everything. If you're looking for a more passive approach, you might be a little bit shocked by this, but that's okay. If you really don't care about being the best example for your kids or your family, this is probably not going to be for you. We could save you some time. If you're not willing to allocate at least 3 hours, guys, 3 hours of your week to physical activity, obviously this is not going to be for you. This particular case study is an example of somebody who went above and beyond and executed everything, crossed the T's, dot their I's, like did absolutely everything, and was really super aggressive with her effort. And that's a great thing. And if that's you and he's like, man, I want to go as fast as I can, I'm sick and tired of being where I'm at, stick around. But if you're not, this isn't going to be for you. It's all about speed to results. So now Okay, now here's the truth about why you may be struggling. It really boils down to three simple things. Either number one, your nutrition is inconsistent. Maybe doing well some days, maybe some months, but it's just back and forth and you can't seem to stick to something long enough for you to see consistent results. Number two, your workouts, if you are working out, may not be optimal. And then number three, your self-talk is terrible. And it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, whether you're labeling yourself as lazy or, in my family history or X, Y, and Z. It's like your mental is struggling. And that needs to be addressed. But it's either one of those three or a combination of all three, all the above. So most people lack the ability to work out effectively for their specific goals. They don't know how to appropriately cope with their stress in productive ways. They don't know how to stop eating unintentionally. A lot of times we are just constantly tempted and constantly bombarded with the abundance of food, whether it's work, church, wherever, everywhere. It's everywhere. You got to be able to have a little bit more self-control. And most people don't know how to hold themselves accountable once they've actually made some progress to actually continue to make some progress. But don't worry, because I'm not going to let that happen to you. Just pay attention to the video, all right? There's no such thing as I'm destined to be this way. Wrong. Women are fully capable of learning and honing new skills after having proper structure, instruction, support. Think about when you learn to drive a car. You have to learn how to do that. It was a skill set. Fitness and nutrition is a skill set. So there is no reason why you can't apply the same concepts that you learn to drive a car to learning fitness and nutrition. This is going to help you get in the best shape of your life if you just commit to learning how to do this appropriately. And if you want to be that person, I'm going to show you exactly how to navigate around the issues mentioned above. Help Aubrey lose 37 pounds during the holidays. I want this to sink in. We started back in November of 2020. Yes, during the holidays. So she had to navigate social events, the holiday season, everything, vacations, and doing this all by working out from home. I'm also going to show you how you can still be highly involved with your kids' activities and not self-sabotage. And number four, how to do all this without having to spend countless hours in the gym or simply being a hermit and locking yourself at your home eating tasteless food out of Tupperware, because nobody wants to do that. In case you don't know me, I mentioned my name is David earlier, but this might be the first video of me that you're seeing. Here's a little brief backstory of how I got here. I've worked with 2,600 students over my 17-year career. My heaviest client was over 500 pounds, and my oldest still currently is 73. I've also had 3 different amputees. I've worked with the general population, D1 athletes, pageant queens. I've done one-on-one private training, semi-private small group. I had a CrossFit affiliate one time. I also ran boot camps, and now obviously I'm currently working with people online. I have been since about 2018. I do need to update this. It says I have 10 100-pound losers. I've actually surpassed the next one. I'm at 11 now. I have 11 100-pound losers. And then also, let me move this, I also have my own 40-pound weight loss. I was once over 200 pounds, and not in a good way. I believe I have a fat face. Yeah, I'll come back to that one. But here are just some examples of my 100-pound losers. We got Tracy, Wendy, Leela, John, Shauna, Aubrey, Emily. I think my latest one's Amber was the latest one. So, yeah. And then, like I said, I have a fat face. But, yeah. So, for the last 17 years, I've been helping people overcome their self-sabotage and get the body that they desire. I'm 41 years young. I'm 5'10", approximately about 180 now at the time of this filming. And I lost 40 pounds. I'm going to be able to stay in shape year round. This is the intention of the program, to help you do this year round. So I'm a father of 2. One of my son, he is autistic, with special needs. I love sushi. I love ice cream. I love Mexican food and pancakes. And we eat these on a consistent basis every single week. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. System is my method I built through my own trial and error by coaching men and women for 17 years in the fitness industry. And like I said, I help people overcome their own self-sabotage and get a body that they love and keep it. So I'm going to break this all down for you in this case study. So let's get to it.
So that's the nutrient timing, and then we're going to get into the juicy stuff. So this is client AG. All right, this is a case study. This is how client AG lost 37 pounds in 8 weeks, all working out from home, not at a gym. All right, this is going to be very, very simple. Some of this stuff is going to be like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you guys can be able to take this information and implement it immediately. Now, disclaimer, I am not a doctor. All right. You can choose to use these strategies, or you can choose not to use these strategies. It's completely up to you. Success leaves clues. I like to figure out what's been working and then share that information with you guys, because obviously everybody wants results and they want results fast. This is a 5 pound average per week. Typically what I do with clients is I look for 1.7 to 2.3 per week. This was a 5 pound average over the course of this 8 weeks. Extremely, extremely accelerated. So let's go over this. Okay. So the problem with this particular client: bad behaviors, self-sabotaging, laziness, yo-yoing all the time. They were turning to food when they became emotional, when they got triggered by work, or they got triggered by family, spouse, things like that. A lot of you guys can relate to this. When they got upset or they got emotional, they found comfort in food. They were prioritizing everything and everybody else before themselves. And here's something that some of you guys may relate with. They were finishing their kids' plates. So not only were they eating their food, they were also finishing their kids' food, because, you know, for the majority of us, when we were taught as little, it's like, you don't waste food, right? So we've had to overcome that. Some of the pain points: pre-diabetic, had back pain, body hurts, embarrassed, and was really concerned about specific health issues. The reasons why they wanted to change was so that they could actually play with their kids, be involved. Don't be that sideline parent, just be like, oh, wanting to get in there and like be involved, but being physically restricted by their body. They weren't comfortable in their own skin. And, you know, they also had a boat too as well. And they wanted to really enjoy actually being out on the lake, rather than being concerned with how their appearance was in swimsuits and things like that. So that was some of the problems and the pain points. Challenges. Challenge number one: they had a fear to succeed. Now, what does that mean? Well, in the past history, they've had a track record of relapsing several times due to a beginning and end date. Okay. Now, here's the thing. That's the problem with challenges. I know and there's nothing wrong with challenges. The mentality wise, psychologically, there's a begin date. I start January 1. I start January 4th. It's 6 weeks long. It's 8 weeks long. It's whatever. And they have a beginning and empirical beginning and end date, chronological actually. And so what happens if you're doing a 6-week program, and then on the 6th week in the first day, psychologically people say, okay, I'm done. So they had this track record of relapsing after the duration of the program. Challenge number two: no schedule. Again, wasn't prioritizing everything, and it wasn't prioritizing themselves before everything else. And so they were just going back and forth. They had kids obligations, spouse, work, all this stuff, trying to run around like a chicken with their head cut off, and basically wasn't getting it in on their schedule. And if it doesn't make it to the schedule, you guys know who are clients, if it doesn't make it to your schedule, it doesn't get done. So there was no structure. Challenge number three, snacking. Again, emotional eating was turning towards snacks for comfort whenever they were triggered. They were bored. So we talk about emotional eating. There's two types. There is stress, and then there's boredom. Okay, boredom is something, especially this year with COVID, and a lot of people have been working from home. People get bored a lot. And what do? When they get bored, they take inventory of their pantry and their fridge and what they got in the cupboard. So there was a lot of just mindless, why not? Let's have a glass of wine. Let's have a this, let's have a that. This was happening approximately about 4 times a week. And like I said, using snacking as a distraction for their life situations and their emotions. Solution, a big surprise. Got into the Inner Anthem Academy November 7th, 2020. And we're going to look at this fantastic story of what happened after they got into this. So in regards for the Academy, what we teach you guys is, number one, implementation, having awareness. And once you have that awareness, making adjustments. We'll literally customize things out from week to week to week, taking account holidays, birthdays, in town, out of town. Do you travel for work? All these different variables, and we work through that. Do you know how to cook? Do you not know how to cook? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. we have implementation, we have awareness, and then we have adjustments. In this particular case study, we're going to go over how this particular client implemented the strategies that we provided for them and how they made them fit themselves and the results from that. It's really absolutely remarkable. So if you have a pen and paper, write this down. These were the simple guidelines of what I presented, but then they took it to a whole nother level. All right. So number one, stop eating fast food. Plain and simple. And like all of these were, for them, were non-negotiable. They drew a line in the sand and they stopped doing X, Y, and Z. When it comes to fast food is actually easier to track, in my opinion, because those things, for those who got to do macronutrients, the majority of chains are already pre-programmed into MyFitnessPal or Better Human or any other tracking app that you may have used. However, you can still get 500 calories in a burger and fries, maybe, kind of, or you can get 500 calories in actual like whole food. Depending on who you ask, what's better, what's better. I'm just telling you what they did. So number one, they just stopped fast food, period. Number two, surprise, surprise, they stopped drinking. This was one of the things that the unaccounted for, the hidden calories that add up just by passing time because they're bored or social instances, things like that. So they stopped fast food, they stopped drinking. Number three, this one's very, was surprising and eye-opening for me. Didn't open the pantry for 8 weeks, meaning they didn't eat anything from the pantry in 8 weeks. I want you guys to really, really think about this. Some of you are like, interesting. Because what do you find in the pantry? It's all processed and refined foods. This is one thing. Now, I didn't request this. This is they took it another step further. They didn't eat out of the pantry for 8 weeks. Some of you guys, like if you want to take that and run with it, do it and see what happens, okay? What did they eat? Only out of the fridge. Foods that were only out of fridge, foods that go bad, foods that spoil, foods that are not processed. They stopped eating out of the pantry. Think about this. Think back at your home right now. What are all the foods that you guys have in your pantry? Chips, cookies, pastas, like all kinds, like I said, right? I mean, even just look at the photo from this example. Number five, the only carbohydrates that they ate and consumed for 8 weeks was fruit and rice. Now, they were still allowed, I mean, on our program, you're still allowed to have starches. You're still allowed to have bread. You're still allowed to have potato. Those things are on foods lists. However, this particular person, I'm only having fruit. I'm only having rice. And those are the only quote unquote carbs. Vegetables are obviously carbs, but these are the only carbohydrates that would considered on the higher end that they had. So vegetables, fruit, and rice were the only carbohydrates that they consumed. No breads, no potatoes. Number six, they worked out 3 times a week. That's it. 3 times a week. Not 4, not 5, not 6. 3 times a week. And then on their off days, simply walk, or they biked, or whatever. They kept moving. But when it comes to actually working out in structure, only 3 times a week, consistently making their workouts, structuring it, scheduling it, putting in your calendar, okay? Making the time for that. 3 times a week, and then on the other days, they simply walked or biked. So here's the timeline. Starting November 7th, 237 pounds in 3 weeks by implementing the strategies that I just showed you. In 3 weeks, lost 10 pounds. Let's go back over the strategies once again if you didn't get them down quick enough. They stopped eating fast food. They stopped drinking. They didn't open up the pantry for 8 weeks. They only ate foods from the fridge. The only carbohydrates that they consumed were veggies, fruits, and rice, no breads, no potatoes, and they worked out 3 times a week and then walked or biked on the other days. This is not rocket science, obviously, right, guys? It's super, super simple. Now, some of you guys may be like, oh my gosh, how did they blah, blah, blah? Well, why did they da, 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 blah, blah? Listen, like I said, this is a disclaimer. I'm just showing you what they did because they had such a phenomenal acceleration rate with their weight loss that I wanted to share this with you. I am not saying here, guys, go do this. What I am saying is success leaves clues. Here's the clues. You want to pick and choose from these and do them? You most certainly can. And we can see what would happen. That's the cool thing about this. In 3 weeks, lost 10 pounds. By December 3rd, another 10 pounds off. Yes, by December 3rd, another 10 pounds off, 217. So we went from 237, 227, 217. By December 3rd, another 10 pounds off, 207. And then by January 4th of the New Year's, it says New Year's Eve, that's a typo. By New Year's, they had not been under 200 pounds since their second kid. I don't know how old their second kid is. Several years. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look. But from November 7th to January 4th, they lost 37 pounds. How? I just shared it. We're going to go through it again. Stop eating fast food. Stop drinking. Didn't open the pantry for 8 weeks. Instead, they only opened up and picked foods from the fridge. The only carbohydrates that they consumed were veggies, fruit, and rice. No breads, no potatoes. There's nothing wrong with bread and potatoes. This is what they chose to do. Need a glass of water. Excuse me. They worked out 3 times a week, and then they walked and or biked on the other days. Okay? That led to a 37-pound difference in their weight. Now, another thing that I did remember that wasn't on that list. At dinner, they followed the diagram. Carbs are out. They had no carbs at dinner, and they introduced the fat. The only fat that they did or used was the olive oil or the spray, whatever they did to saute their vegetables. That was it. Okay? So those were the steps. The impact, you can see the graph right here, 237 pounds on November 7th. They got down to 200 by January 4th. Here are some of the results from this. As you can see, this is within an 8-week period. 8-week period. Now, the cool thing about this with this particular client is we're just getting started. We're just getting started. This person is averaging 5 pounds per week and is on pace to lose over 100 pounds. I'm going to go back. Again, here's the steps. No fast food. They stopped drinking. They didn't open the pantry. They only ate foods from the fridge. They only consumed veggies, fruit, and rice. No breads, no potatoes. They worked out 3 times a week and walked. The only fats that they used were like I said, the olive oil that they sauteed their green vegetables in for dinner. So that's the case study. That's the step.
The biggest things for me is that example specifically is that I was in a place mentally at 237 where I would feel relieved if a doctor told me that I have MS. And that's crazy, because then at least I could say, okay, this is not your fault. Look what's happening to you. And this is a result of all these things.
Victim.
Then everything I've been saying is so true. You know what I mean? And like, kind of, how dare those doctors want to address that I'm 7 pounds? You know what I mean? Like, so just living in that mind space where that outcome is better than saying, maybe I need to lose some weight or be healthier and make better choices. And then, getting over that hill of not making excuses for yourself. And another thing I told the lady last night at the meeting, I said, I was to a point where if my coach told me like the hardest, craziest, most uncomfortable things to do, I would have done them. Like, that's how low, how rock bottom I was. And then to find out that all the things he told me were not crazy and ridiculous and hard, makes you feel, like you've wasted so much time, because that was a barrier for me. Like, I'm not the kind of person, like I would watch people, say, I can't do that. I will never do that. I could never do those things. I don't have the willpower. I don't have the abilities, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And so, for me, it's the mindset where it's like a level up. You leveled up, in your brain.
Yeah.
And you take responsibility for not only what you do, but what you think.
I don't know what that feels like. It's so cool. Oh, I know how proud you are. How did it feel? So when you stepped on, like, what was good? Did you do the, let me step?
I did. immediately I'd step back off and step back on. Sometimes that scale is just like, you know what I mean? It's digital. It's I'm like, this is it. So, and then I screamed at Zach. I was like, I gotta take a picture. Get the phone. And so Zach's always like, he knows the moment was close. And so he was like ready. It was like we're having a baby. He was doing that weird thing. He was like, get the phone, like that. So he was excited.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You understand exactly how this process works, and I told you it was an aggressive one for this case study. I have an offer for you. If you are not living up to your potential as a mother, if you're fed up of being fat, if you're simply embarrassed by the way that you look and what you see in the mirror, if you're wanting to be the best example for your kids, if you're wanting to have more confidence and wear a fun wardrobe out in public, it can help you. A lot of times you guys have these limiting beliefs that keep you stuck where you're at. My job is to get you to these goals. I know in my soul, like, to get you momentum, we got to get you wins early. I know that I can get at least 10% of your current body weight off of you in 90 days following our system. In fact, I'll even guarantee it. And if you follow the system to the T and that doesn't occur for you, I will refund your money. No questions asked. But you have to be able to follow through. We've done this over and over and over again. It's been proven. Somebody's going to do it. Might as well be you. Might as well be now. You've made the excuses. You've heard Aubry's story. Some of you relate. It's like, oh my gosh, that sounds just like me. Absolutely incredible. Aubry did freaking fantastic. And like I said, this is the third fastest of 10. And actually, it might even be 11 now. People that have helped surpass that number. If you got any value out of this, go ahead and click that link below, book a call. We're gonna see if you're a good fit for the program. You don't have to be as aggressive as Aubry. You can just see how powerful this system can be when you have the right accountability, structure, support, and plan. And we literally just lay everything out for you, but make sure that you actually follow through. Things can happen very rapid for you. We have a plan that we can implement immediately for you and have you have the same success. We even guarantee it. Click that link below, schedule a call. We'll see if you're a good fit for the team. I'll see you later. Talk to you on the other side. Peace out. Deuces. Whatever it may be. Click that link, guys. I'll see you soon.